Welcome to Hardheaded Podcast. We're excited that you've joined us as we have a conversation.
Hardheaded.
Happy New Year. New Year's. Happy New Year's.
New Year's.
Well, I'm kind of glad we're getting past the holiday season. There was a popular podcast that I listened to that I'm not going to name here because I'm kind of slamming it. Had a commercial that they were talking in there, and they said, M-I-S-S.
Miss.
K-I-S-S.
Kiss.
T-I-S.
Tis.
Yes. Tis. But they pronounced it tis. Tis the season. And I every time they said that, I wanted to turn it off. But I didn't. I resisted. But it's like, tis the season. I'm like, no, it's tis. Not tis. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Tis no longer the season. We're moving on with 2023. Got a great episode for you today. Troy's going to tell us what's on his mind. We're going to go into a funny top three here that may create some discussion. This was a lot harder than I thought it was. Top three actors who would play yourself in a movie.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
It's going to be interesting. Top three actors who would play yourself in a movie. And then Matt's going to bring us a good word.
Possibly.
Troy, what's on your mind?
Oh, there's going to be a good word. Maybe two. We don't know.
Yeah. All right. So for the new year, starting us off, lately I've been thinking certain things have just been happening. Recently I found out a friend has an illness. Well, more than one friend has an illness, life-threatening illness. Found out a couple weeks ago an old friend of mine passed away suddenly. And so it just got me thinking about how life's just too short, right?
A vapor.
A vapor, as the good word says. And so when you have friends that are sick, I mean, especially when they're far away, there's, first thought you can feel hopeless, right? Or helpless. Like I can't do anything for you. But as a believer, that's just, I go to the Lord for that, right? So I always, hey man, I'm praying for you, and I make it a point to do that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people say, yeah, man, I'm praying for you, and maybe they don't, or maybe they are. I hope they are, but I've been even guilty of that, going, hey man, I'll pray for you, and then
not do it,
or maybe say it one time, and
yeah.
But for these, later in my life, and these friends of mine, I've been really trying to stay consistent and be in prayer with them and for them. And so it just got me thinking about how life is too short. And then in my life, when things happen, or when bad things have happened in the past, 10, 15 years, I've always kind of joked around and said, it's just because it's me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Trust. Nothing bad has ever happened to anybody else.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. But I kind of put this out there on myself. Excuse me. Drinking this QT coffee cappuccino right here. It's got me a little gassy. Pardon me.
Free plug.
Yeah, free plug. QT right there. It's good stuff. But anyway, so I've kind of put that jokingly onto myself. Like, if it's going to happen to me, it's going to happen. I've even been known to say, Murphy's Law, it should have been Trussell's Law, because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen to me.
Yeah.
I have an independent insurance agent that does our insurance for us. And ever since I've been using her over the past 3 years, like, crazy things happen. I know crazy things happen to other people, but time over and over again, she said, I have never had this happen with any of my other clients.
Yeah, just trying to get signed up.
Or getting signed up. Or, we moved and we didn't switch our insurance when we moved because we had to get a certain insurance to get the mortgage to pay for this, help us pay for this house that we wanted. And then when we moved in, we knew we needed a new roof, but we didn't switch it. And so when that hailstorm came, or windstorm, we ended up getting a new roof, but it was like this horrible deposit, and it was just a big ordeal.
Yeah.
Fighting with adjusters and roofing contractors. It's
That's a thing.
It's just a thing. Like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen to Trussell.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I've just had that for years. In Murphy's Law, I brought the definition: a supposed law of nature expressed in various humorous popular sayings to the effect that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And so I've kind of put that on myself. And for 2023, I'm done.
You're not going to say Trussell law anymore?
I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Because I honestly believe that words have power. The tongue is the power of life and death, right? That's scripture. Your mouth and the words that you say have power. And whether you're manifesting stuff or not through your words.
Well, you're putting yourself in an attitudinal position. How do you like that?
Attitudinal. Write that one down.
That ought to be our band name if we ever had a band.
Attitudinal.
What do you think? Matt, that a good band name? Welcome back to the conversation, Matt.
Matt's over there trying to order pizza or something.
Attitudinal changes do not just come out of the blue.
Yes.
I was making sure it was a real word.
But I mean,
I haven't heard
if you keep saying it, your attitude's going to be oriented in that direction. And if your attitude's oriented in that direction, you're going to always think about how bad everything could be or is, how bad you think it is, when actually it's not. This kind of goes back to something that we talked about months ago on the nocebo, the placebo, and then the nocebo, where you adopt the negative side effects, even though you were given a
placebo.
Yeah. And then you got, what we get diarrhea with every drug you take or whatever. I took this pill. Now I have all the bad symptoms.
Yeah. All the side effects I got with them.
Yeah. It's kind of the same thing. Like you're like, here we go again.
Exactly. Yeah. And so recently, on Christmas Eve night, and Hannah and I had kind of had this conversation before Christmas. And Christmas Eve night, we're hanging out up in the kitchen, cooking some dinner after we got home from church and everything. And my 8-year-old loves to go downstairs and play games. So as soon as we get there, he runs down there. Well, he's down there 5 or 10 minutes, and he comes shooting back up the stairs. Like, hey, Dad, there's water, it's dripping, what? And I knew immediately what had happened because the past 3 days leading up to that, our toilet in our master bath had not been filling up.
Yeah.
So I was like,
frozen pipe.
I'm pretty sure it's frozen, but I mean,
for those not familiar with the Wichita weather that we had leading up to Christmas, we had real temps below zero. We had 8 straight days with below freezing. It never got above freezing.
Right.
And wind chills in like minus 36, I think, was the lowest that it went because the wind was blowing like crazy.
Yeah, it was nasty. So he comes, he came running upstairs. I immediately knew what happened. So I ran downstairs to the water shut off, immediately shut it off. And, of course, walking down the hall, squish, squish, squish. Yeah. So, busted pipe. So what do we do? Ended up, wife got the shop vac down there. I sucked all the water up. We looked at all the damage, just put fans on it. We've had this happen before in a previous home, so not because of ice, but just because of a leak.
Busted pipe, yeah.
So we knew what to do. And so we got to talking about it that night and the next day, and we had remembered, we're not gonna look at this as a horrible thing. Maybe this is a good thing. Mm-hmm. And so since we had that mind shift and that good attitude about what had happened, hey, I'm glad we were here when it busted.
Yeah.
So that we could.
They didn't fill up the basement.
Exactly. Yeah. We weren't swimming down there. We didn't lose a ton of furniture and have to restore all kinds of walls and everything. We caught it quick. Insurance adjuster came out day after. Well, the plumber came out first, fixed it. It was an easy fix. We actually had money in our bank account to fix it. Insurance adjuster came out the next day, gave us a nice amount to where we'll be able to fix it.
Like the drywall and the carpet.
The drywall, the ceiling, pay ourselves back from the plumber, get new carpet, new floor. Like everything is going to be taken care of.
Yeah.
And we'll probably have some money left over. So just looking at everything in a positive light, it was just a better situation all around.
Yeah.
And so where that pipe runs, the dryer vent runs out right there too, and goes out the house.
That's where you're getting your cold air in.
Well, no. Yes and no. But so we found that, Hannah found out that they put that pipe together with duct tape. Like not ductwork tape, like the aluminum, the aluminum stuff that you're supposed to use. But they use like duct tape. Mm-hmm. After 17 years, that's that tape that melts and it just disintegrates.
Yeah, but it is duct tape.
Correct.
And you're talking about ducts.
Right.
Yeah.
Air ducts.
Yeah.
It sounds like ducks, like quack, quack, but yeah.
Yeah, but you're saying they use duct tape on this duct, which they shouldn't have used. I get what you're saying, but it's kind of funny that we're saying they invented that tape for duct work.
Right, but they shouldn't have used it because it's not good.
Use the aluminum tape.
Over time, it disintegrates.
Yeah.
And it had disintegrated, and all of the insulation in that, in between the ceiling and the floor above, all covered in lint.
Yeah.
So like huge fire hazard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we got to took all that stuff out and replaced it with new. We pulled the whole ductwork out, taped it all up with the correct tape that you're supposed to use. So that's just another positive thing. Like, maybe this small little flood that we had stopped our house from burning down. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what's been on my mind lately. Just looking at the world through a different lens.
So you're doing, is that a New Year's resolution? Or
no,
is that
it's not a resolution. I personally don't like resolutions because they last.
You said, hey, we're starting out 2023. You kind of teed it up like this is.
Right. But resolutions last about 2 weeks, right?
I don't know.
For the average person. That's why gym memberships, they run off of the monthly memberships, right? Because people go for 2 or 3 weeks the first of the year and then they're done, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not calling this it's just like a diet. Same thing. Like you're going to go on a diet.
It's a lifestyle change.
Yeah, this is a lifestyle change for us.
So is a diet.
No, it's not.
A proper diet's a lifestyle change. But
no, if your diet is what you eat. That is your diet.
And it needs to change. It's a lifestyle.
But in the sense that people are selling like, hey, you need to be on keto. It's a diet. That's a diet.
With this new path of positivity.
Oh, is that what you're going to call it?
Hey, that's what I was getting to. So you know how people...
I'm sorry I interrupted you, but path of positivity. That sounds like the book you ought to write.
Over the past few years, I've been hearing people just claim a word on the year. Uh-huh. Well, my word's positive.
That's like a resolution. That's like a resolution evolved.
See, and that was mine 2020. Was it 21?
No. You were just going to stop commenting online.
I was going to be more
the negative thoughts in your head.
I wasn't going to be negative.
You were going to have the negative thoughts in your head. You just weren't going to comment on people.
That's true.
That was yours. I'm going to restrain myself.
I want to know what this new path are. The signs on the highway going to bother you as much, or are you going to look at them positively?
Dude,
I can still be bothered and be positive.
Because
so now it's no different than my resolution to where
I was driving somewhere just this last week, and I caught a sign, but unfortunately the glare, you can't read it. But I was like, I'm going to send this to Troy.
Oh yeah. But what did it say? Do you remember what it said?
It was something like, if you drink in the holidays, you're going to jail or something like that.
Yeah.
DUI.
Drive high, get a DUI.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But now I see road signs and I think of you. So maybe our listeners do that as well.
Excellent.
Yeah. Maybe not excellent.
So do you have, what are you two, what y'all do, resolutions?
No,
or do you do a word or what?
I don't do any of that. I typically make fun of people that do the words. But I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I did have a really good December with my staff, and we have a word for 2023 around what I want to have them accomplish at work. So I'm doing it, and I teed
Nice.
it up with, I normally make fun of people that do this, but
you're doing it too. All right.
yeah.
Matt?
I'll cover mine in the good word.
Okay. All right. I'm looking forward to hear that.
Okay.
But I mean, do you remember like growing up?
I'm glad you're engaged right now. I'm really glad that you got the pizza ordered.
Remember that word.
And,
But you remember growing up, I mean, going back to the power of thought. And so it's not really, I don't like the word manifest because
It gets overused and
yeah. And, but
sounds Joel Osteen. That's what I don't like about it.
like,
Yeah.
but growing up, it was, just be positive, think positive. Parents always told us that, or at least told me that, don't be negative, be positive, think about this in a positive way. And when you do that, everything, your viewpoint shifts, everything changes and your attitude changes. And then the people around you pick up on that, and then it changes them as well. So that's a noble, resolution, or not necessarily a resolution, but a noble lifestyle change. Because I really do think that it's so easy to think negative or be negative. It takes a lot more energy to think positive and look for the positive things, because there's not always a lot there, but there's always a little something there. And if you're looking for it, it changes your view. You see things better in other people. You see things better in yourself and in situations. And yeah, I mean, you can reduce a lot of stress doing it that way. That was kind of not necessarily my goal in 2020. I was just trying to disengage from social media.
It was 2021. Yeah.
21. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, be a little bit more positive and not feed into that negativity, and try to be a little bit more positive influence. And I think it worked out better for me that year than it did this last year, where I just kind of let in a little bit more. And
yeah.
But yeah, I would say that I'm kind of trying to focus on the same thing for 23, be more positive.
Well, I think it's important too. I was listening to a guy talk. He was a Delta guy, and with a question, typically when you get the tier 1 special operators, is like, who's the best? What's and the question was, or the SEAL team, the development group, Navy SEAL Team 6, is that tougher than the what are they, combat whatever
CAG?
Yeah, CAG, and which is the Delta Force, is what people that civilians typically call them. Anyway, he said he's going to go with the Army, because in the Navy, the selection process, and this is just totally selection process. Selection process is group related in the Navy. So you had people that were next to you that could encourage you, or that you could just see their behaviors, and then you're going to gain energy from that, and that you're doing you're carrying the logs, carrying the boats, everything is as a team, so you can share each other's burden, and if you need a break, you can actually get a break, because there's 5 other people in your group that are also carrying the same log. And he mentioned short people getting an easy ride through SEAL team selection, because they're never the tall one on the log that's carrying the most weight. They're always, the shorter ones. And I thought, that's life in general. The tall people have a harder life. I was thinking that personally. But he said that, for Delta Force, the selection, you're alone. Like, there's nobody. There's absolutely nobody to assist you. You're not going on a course with people. You can't see other people. You're just given a destination, 80-pound ruck or however much it weighs, and told you need to be there as fast as you can get there. Try as hard as you can. And they have a time that you're supposed to be there by. You don't know what that time is. You just have to get there as fast as you can. And you're alone. So in that realm, you think, well, you're more awesome if you went through a selection like that. But at the same time, if you are surrounded by people to help you, it's easier. Like, that's what he's saying, that SEAL teams are easier because they're team focused. which is if you're trying to be positive in 2023, who's on your team? Like, are they going to be there to help you be more positive, or are they going to be people that are negative all the time and help drag you down? So I thought that was pretty interesting on one, we look at it, from a special forces perspective. Oh, they're more awesome because they did everything alone, because it's easier when you do it as a team. Well, we don't necessarily need to make life harder. So we need to find that team that's aligned with what you want to be doing this year and make sure that the people you're spending time with are positive as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything, Matt? I'm glad you joined the second half. So
I did.
We're actually recording in the middle of the day, which is not normal.
Yeah, it's crazy.
For us, but we have some things that have come up with our schedule that allowed us to do this today, and so we're taking advantage of it. So we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back with our top 3 actors who would play ourselves in a movie.
Are you driving traffic to your website? Do you have an engaging homepage? Better yet, does your homepage have a video? We recently created a video for a client about his business and the services they provide. Since he placed the video on the homepage of their website, he has had a number of clients specifically say they decided to use his services because of that video. At Trussell Media, we help businesses create engaging videos to host on their websites, email to clients, and use in their social media marketing. Contact us if you're interested in creating a video for your homepage today. TrussellMedia.com. Fill out the form at TrussellMedia.com/contact. Let us help you tell your story through video.
And we're back.
Grab that button.
Yes. So, top 3 actors who would play you in a movie, Matt. Why don't you let us know? I didn't think about this for you guys. This is hard for me. And initially when I heard it, I was like, oh, I'll come up with 3 for me, 3 for Matt, 3 for Troy. I didn't do that.
I only got 1 for Matt. I wonder if it's on his list.
We'll see. Number 3, the obvious, Gary Sinise.
The obvious, he's 2-legged, man. That was all
yeah, but
effects.
he's done such a good job of playing an amputee, an angry one. I think it'd go over well. Let's see. Number 2, Kevin Costner. And
I don't see it.
Think about it.
I'm thinking about it.
Think about
I don't see it.
Think about his roles that he's played. It's not a looks thing. It's an attitude thing. In basically every movie that he's played in, he has almost 0 emotion. So whether he's Mr. Dutton, it's always analytical. It's I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to, what's the baseball one? Same kind of thing. He's going to do things his way, and he might mess
Bull
up.
Durham.
Yeah, and it might screw up, might mess up, but he's still going to do it his way, even if he has to learn the hard way. And so that's kind of the way that I took it with that. And most of his roles are like that. Tin Cup, same thing. And then number 1, Tom Berringer.
I can see that.
That was the one I had in mind, was Tom Berringer. Yep. That's a good fit.
Why Tom Berringer? Oh, he's got a phone call.
Pizza?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I'll go while Matt is going to talk to the pizza delivery person, since we're in the middle of the day and we need to eat lunch. But we had to change because of Matt's schedule. So
that's right.
We're adapting to me.
He's being more positive, and he's buying us lunch because of that. Number 3.
Anyway, so Tom Berringer.
Yeah.
So you guys said you could see that. Why? Because I was on the phone.
Oh.
I think, I don't know, it's just a good fit. I think y'all kind of resemble each other.
I think you guys resemble each other, especially the pictures pre-beard, Matt.
Yeah, well, that, and when
you guys have like the same blockhead.
Well, and when he's in Platoon, and he's got the scar, because the scar on his face is on the same side. And
blockhead.
I don't know how many people I've been told. I was like, yeah, dude, you look like Tom Berringer. That's what I get the most. So,
all right.
And plus, he plays like the 0 emotion.
More so than Kevin Costner. That's for certain.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner's a nice guy. I don't know if Tom Berringer is.
I don't know.
I've been around Kevin Costner.
I'm a pretty nice guy.
Nice. Okay. No, I don't know about that. People are intimidated by you big time. Number 3, if there's a portrayal about me as a child in my younger years, if there's like a flashback, a young Ricky Schroder, little kid.
Ricky Schroder.
Yeah.
What show was that?
I don't even remember. Was
Silver
Spoons?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Okay.
Little rich kid.
Yeah, I had that whitish blonde hair as a child. Number 2, Harrison Ford. And
all right,
this was my wife's response. Like, if
that was her pick.
Yeah, I said, hey, if you're gonna have an actor play me in a movie, like what's the best one? And she said something about his attitude. Always kind of frustrated. And, with the world going on around him.
Right,
and apparently he points a lot in his movies. I don't point that much, but
he does point a lot. Yeah.
I'm going to start pointing more just to get that. And then number 1, not the current age, but he may not even be alive anymore. But of all the things, like strangers come up to me and tell me I look like Donald Sutherland when he was younger. So I would say, based on the general populace of strangers that feel comfortable enough to approach me without knowing me and say, hey, you look exactly like a whatever, that would be the vote that I've gotten the most over my lifetime, all the way back to college. And as recent as the end of October, somebody came up out of the blue at a K-State game and was like, hey, anybody ever told you look like a young Donald Sutherland? I'm like, yeah, matter of fact. So that'd be the dude.
According to IMDb, he is still alive.
All right.
He was born July 17th.
What? Why are you laughing?
Why would he not be alive?
Huh?
Because he said
I don't know
he
if
may
he's still
or may
alive.
not be
he's
alive.
still alive.
He was born in 1935, though. He's getting on up there.
Yeah, he's getting old.
80.
Don't even try to math me.
87?
I don't know.
I started, I just went like actors that are my height.
Hey, you kind of look like an old one too. Look at that.
Hey, what, I mean,
Donald Sutherland from The Hunger Games or from Animal House. You hit both of them. There you go.
Wasn't he a Dirty Dozen too?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
good.
Troy.
All right. So, I searched everywhere. Well, I'll start with number 3 first. So, when Varsity Blues came out, everybody told me I looked like James Vanderbeek or Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
In high school, everybody's like, "Oh, you look like Dawson." So James Vanderbeek.
Was it the puka shell necklace?
No, I didn't wear.
Bull.
I wore hemp necklaces.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I knew I saw a picture with you wearing something like that.
Oh gosh. All right, so that's number 3. Number 2 was kind of from my college years. I looked everywhere for this actor's name. I could not find it. He was in some frat guy movie around the time I was in college, and he used to do this thing with his mouth. Like that.
That's kind of gross. Don't do that again.
I was just going to do it once.
Hold on. Your number 2, I'm just going to get this clear, is some actor that was only in one movie and you can't remember his name.
He's been in multiple movies, but he always has like these like really secondary or
like
third,
80s movies?
No, not like year 2000-ish.
Yeah.
But he did that in that movie.
Did you just Google?
I know who it is. Hold on.
Do you remember what movie I'm talking about?
Yeah, Lockland Monroe.
Let me see.
Let me see his picture. I don't know about this.
That guy.
That's him. Yes. What movie was that where he did that mouth thing?
I don't know.
He's done it in a couple, but Dead Man on Campus.
Dead Man on Campus. That's the movie.
Lockland
Monroe.
Yeah, in the
Monroe.
Shades.
If you're from the South, that's Monroe.
Wasn't Shades from That Thing You Do? Wasn't he in that movie? I think so. Anyway, that's my number 2.
Yeah, but he wasn't Shades.
No, he wasn't Shades, but Shades was in that movie too.
Yeah, I don't think he was in that movie.
Well, that's pretty good. If you were to just kind of say that and he's like, yeah, I agree, then yeah, all right, that's confirmation.
Yeah, confirmation. Everybody in college was like, man, you look like that dude. I never saw it, but everybody said I did. So,
well, I can see it, and then I get extra points for knowing that sound that you made.
yeah, you do. Yeah, you get.
I knew exactly who it was.
Really?
And I knew exactly the point in the movie when he did it.
Okay.
You get 2 gold stars. I Googled that forever, like weird Google searches last night, just trying to find that guy. I couldn't find it. Anyway,
Troy's internet search history. Crazy looking guy that makes mouth noises in movies from the early 2000s.
I mean, that was probably one of them.
Well, because it was in that movie when he's doing, because he does it a few times.
He's
in
a
that
frat
movie.
guy, and he almost dies like 4 or 5 times in the movie.
Yeah,
Or
yeah. Well, and that part is, hey, you want to do a bong and smoke some weed or something.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
then he does the noise.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
It's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny. And then number 1, young or old. The older I get, the more I look like this guy. Steve Martin.
Really?
Huh? White hair, big nose. No?
Steve Martin had white hair when he was like 20.
I know, that's why I said young or old. The older I get, I look like him.
I don't know about that.
I saw.
I don't know. I couldn't come up with a
I
third.
saw on the internets last night that's a sign of a copper deficiency. True or not, I don't know, but
I just found out that I have copper pipes running all through my house, so I get plenty of copper, I'm sure. The amount of water I drink.
But you have to have the what's it called? Something to help your body metabolize it. I can't remember what it's called.
So does
Selenium.
that mean if you get, like, I wear a copper bracelet, then my hair's going to turn?
It might turn back to a normal color.
Really? I don't know about this.
I don't either. I'm
going to buy 3.
It was almost a little clickbaity.
My dad had gray hair, white hair early. And I have very few memories with him with dark hair.
Well, I mean, the only reason is because there was an article on Albert Einstein that said that he died of a copper deficiency. And
He always had white hair.
He didn't always have white hair.
he had it for a long time, though.
All right.
Whatever. It was just a fact that came up.
Any honorable mentions there?
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a robot. Terminator. RoboCop.
I had Mark Paul Gosselaar for one of mine. Zach Morris.
Zach Attack.
Miller in he was in Lord of the Rings.
I'm out.
The evil sorcerer that was Gandalf's
Nemesis.
head of his whatever.
I don't know his real name.
Uh,
Not Saruman. Saruman? The white wizard? Yeah, he was also Count Dooku, that guy?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. I don't know his name.
I think it's Miller. I'm pretty sure. We're cast. I'm looking.
Yeah, well, your pizza here yet, Matt?
No.
I know our listeners want
Lee.
to know.
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee, yeah, that's right.
That dude was bad to the bone. He was before in World War II. He was a special forces guy for Britain.
Oh yeah,
and there's a clip in Peter Jackson documentary where he's directing and he's like, this dude gets stabbed from in the back and whatever, and Peter Jackson's like, and I want him to go like and Christopher Lee's like, actually, in his accent or whatever, when you get stabbed in the back, it makes this sound.
Oh wow.
He's like, oh, and Peter Jackson's like, oh, okay, man, we'll do that.
We'll do that instead.
Whatever
I think
you say.
Yeah.
Whatever
What movie
say.
was that?
That was Lord of the Rings.
Was it Lord of the Rings? I saw that interview, I guess,
Yeah.
where he was talking about that. So I guess I know what you're talking about from that. Yeah.
And that should make you want to watch the movie when World War II veterans were in it.
I've tried.
Yeah, whatever. All right, we're going to move on to a good word from the guy over here that just won't even watch movies that are good.
But knew just a random off the wall sound
From a movie, right?
from a movie.
You'll watch and know those movies, but you won't watch like good stuff, classics.
I like comedy. I like comedy more than any other genre. So the good word, there's actually two.
All right.
First one is engaged.
Okay.
Told you to remember that word from the beginning.
Right.
The second one was disengaged. So the good word for today is I guess the challenge for this new year, or the lifestyle change, would be to be more engaged locally, whether that's with your family, with your friends, your local government, your board of education. Know what's going on at your children's schools with their teachers. Just be more involved in your community locally. Everybody gets so wrapped up in what's going on in Washington, and while that's important, where the change really happens is at the local level, where you can affect the day to day that impacts your life. Because I get sucked into Big Brother and what are we going to do here, and it starts here. It starts at home. It starts in the home, and then branching that out into the community. So be more engaged with your family, and then disengage from the news, disengage from watching and being constantly focused on what they're preaching, what they're pushing out, because it's all part of an agenda. It's all part of a way to control the way you think. And so if you're trying to think positive and you watch that news, it's hard to get anything positive out of the news. They might give you a 30-second snippet at the end of, hey, somebody helped this person and we should all feel good about it. But the other, 29 minutes and 30 seconds of their broadcast is negative. So disengage from that, because if you, just like Chet said before, when you surround gave the example of the special forces, when you surround yourself with a team that's got a common goal, it's easier to accomplish. Well, if part of your team is that media and they're pushing a negative agenda, then they're not helping you out. So fill yourself with positivity, whether that's a daily devotional, talking to people who want to be positive with you, and announce that to them and say, hey, I'd like to be positive, but just disengage from those negative aspects. And that includes the news and social media. And do less of those things and interact more on a local level with people around you, because you're more likely to affect those people than you are anybody on the TV, online, or in DC. So that's my good word.
I like it. Well,
Nice.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, spread the word.
Thanks for listening to the Hardheaded Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.